I never thought Mother's Day could feel like a trial by fire. The moment my son walked in, perfectly dressed in his designer suit, I felt a cold weight settle in my chest. He didn't greet me with a hug or even a smile. Instead, he leaned against the doorframe, eyes calculating, and asked in that calm, almost cruel tone, "Mom, is the $5,000 Clara gives you every month enough? Enough?" My hands tightened around the teacup I wasn't even holding yet. Enough for what? For my love? My devotion? For all the nights I'd stayed awake, worrying about him, sacrificing my own comfort, my own dreams. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice to remain steady, though my heart was pounding. "Son, love can't be bought," I said quietly, letting the words hang in the air. He blinked, clearly expecting a different answer, maybe one that would appease him. But this was Mother's Day, and I wasn't here to play by his rules. What he didn't know was that today, the secret I'd been guarding all year, the truth that could shift everything between us, was about to come out. Before I continue, dear viewers, if you've ever felt unseen, undervalued, or taken for granted, like, subscribe, and comment. Sharing these stories reminds us that love, respect, and truth are priceless. The morning had started like any other, except the air felt unusually thick, heavy with tension. I could hear the faint hum of the air conditioner, the distant chirping of birds outside, and the soft creak of the floorboards beneath my slippers. But there was no peace in the quiet. No comfort. Only anticipation. I stood by the kitchen window, staring out at the sun spilling over the garden, trying to steady the storm of nerves swirling inside me. My son was moving about the house, checking his phone, adjusting his tie, every gesture precise, calculated, effortless. He always had that effect, charm and confidence masking a sense of entitlement. And Clara, of course, was here, dressed to impress, carrying her usual polished smile. She was sweet, practiced, perfectly poised, but there was something cold beneath the surface, something that always left me feeling small. She placed a perfectly wrapped gift on the table. "Happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Thompson," she said, voice silky. "I hope you like it." I nodded politely, holding back the irritation that always prickled when Clara was around. Gifts weren't why I lived. They never had been. Before I could respond, my son appeared behind her, leaning casually, smirking in place. His eyes glinted with challenge, the kind only a millionaire child could wield. Confident that wealth could cover every shortcoming. "I hope Clara's $5,000 is enough this year," he said. Voice smooth, deliberately cutting. The words landed like a slap. I froze, my breath caught. My heart raced. He was testing me. And I was ready. Money can buy many things. "Son," I said softly, meeting his eyes. "Comfort, status, even obedience. But love cannot be bought. And respect certainly cannot." He frowned, as if tasting a truth he'd never encountered before. His mouth opened, perhaps to argue, but I raised a hand, stopping him mid-thought. "I have something to show you," I said. "Something I've kept hidden because you weren't ready. But today, the truth comes out." Curiosity flickered in his sharp eyes, mingled with impatience. He leaned closer, waiting, unaware that the revelation could shift everything he believed about me and himself. I led him to the study. The sanctuary where I kept the things that mattered most. Old letters, photographs, documents, small pieces of my life he'd never taken the time to understand. I placed a plain, unassuming folder on the desk. Inside lay years of my sacrifices, choices I'd made silently, and a secret I had protected fiercely. "This," I whispered, "is why money cannot buy what truly matters. The truth, once you see it, will change everything." His fingers hovered over the folder, uncertain, hesitant, like a man standing at the edge of a cliff. Then there was a knock at the door. Sharp, urgent. I froze. The folder sat open, a storm waiting to explode. I glanced at my son. For the first time I saw unease in his face, a crack in the armor of his confidence. Who could it be? And what would happen if they saw what was about to be revealed? The knock came again, louder, demanding. My heartbeat raced, and at that moment I realized Mother's Day wasn't about gifts. It was about truth reckoning, and a secret that could either destroy or redeem everything we had. The shadow in the doorway was tall, imposing, and instantly familiar. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't expected anyone else to arrive, certainly not now. Not in the middle of what was about to be the most important conversation with my son. Mom? Who? My son began, his voice tight, wary. The visitor stepped into the light, and my breath caught. It was my younger brother, David, someone my son had never met. His eyes scanned the study quickly, landing on the open folder on the desk. There was a sharp intake of breath, just subtle enough for me to notice. David? What are you doing here? I asked, trying to sound calm, though my pulse was racing. He gave me a small, tense smile. I came as soon as I got your message, he said, voice low. You said it was urgent. I nodded slowly, gesturing toward the folder. It's more than urgent, it's the truth. And you're about to see why money can't buy what really matters. My son leaned closer, curiosity mixed with apprehension. Mom? What is this? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. This folder contains everything you've never known about me, about our family. About the sacrifices I made to give you the life you have now. He frowned. Sacrifices? You mean the money? No, I said sharply, feeling a flare of frustration. Not money. Time, energy, dreams. Freedom. I gave up so much, son, so you could have what you wanted. And still you measure it all in dollars. David stepped closer, his expression serious. She's telling the truth, he said quietly, almost to my son. I've seen it. What your mother did, no one else could have. She protected the family, carried burdens we didn't even know existed. My son's face hardened. I don't understand. What secret are you talking about? I opened the folder slowly, revealing a stack of letters, legal documents, and photographs. All year, Clara has been giving me money, $5,000 a month. And you thought that was enough. But this... I gestured to the documents. This is what I've been protecting. The truth about the company inheritance, the debts we quietly covered, the promises I kept to save this family. Money wasn't the measure of love I was. My son's eyes widened as he skimmed the papers. His face turned pale. You did all this? Why didn't you ever tell me? Because you wouldn't have understood, I said softly, emotions tight in my chest. You only see what's in front of you. The gifts, the money. Not the heart, not the choices, not the love that requires sacrifice. There was a long, heavy silence. I could feel the weight of every secret, every hidden effort, pressing down on the room. And then, from the corner, David spoke again, voice trembling slightly. There's one more thing, he said. Something you've never seen before. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope, aged and worn. He handed it to me. I recognized it immediately. It was from my late husband, a man whose absence had shaped every decision I'd ever made. I opened it carefully, revealing a letter written in his unmistakable handwriting. My hands shook as I read, "To my beloved wife. If anything happens to me, protect our son, protect our family, and remember that love is never measured in dollars." Tears pricked my eyes, but I blinked them back. I couldn't let my emotions break the moment. My son was staring at me, struggling to process the magnitude of what he had never understood. Do you get it now? I asked quietly. Do you understand love, family, and sacrifice? Can't be bought? That every dollar Clara gives you is nothing compared to what was truly given? His hands trembled slightly as he let the papers fall onto the desk. I didn't know, he said finally, voice cracking. I never realized. I stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. It's not too late to realize. But you need to understand the choices you make now will define whether you value love or just wealth. Then, the room fell silent. Not because the conversation was over, but because another sound pierced the tension, the unmistakable ping of a notification on my son's phone. He glanced down, his expression shifting from guilt to panic. "What is it?" I asked cautiously, my heart thudding. He didn't answer immediately. His face was drained of color. Slowly, he looked up at me, eyes wide, fear and realization flashing across them. It's from Clara," he whispered. She's coming. She knows." I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. The moment that had begun as a confrontation of truths was about to spiral into something far more dangerous. And in that instant, I realized that the secret I had just revealed, the one I had protected all year, was about to be tested in ways I couldn't control. The sound of the doorbell echoed through the house, sharp and insistent. My son's face was pale, his hands trembling slightly as he fumbled with the papers. I felt a cold dread settle over me. Clara had arrived, and somehow she already knew. "She's here," he whispered, almost afraid to speak the words aloud. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. There was no turning back now. The truth had been revealed, and now we had to face the consequences. The door opened, and Clara stepped in, her smile perfectly composed, but her eyes were sharp, calculating, almost predatory. She scanned the room, her gaze landing on the folder I had just exposed. Well, she said, her voice sugary sweet but laced with menace. "I didn't expect to walk into such honesty." My son swallowed hard. "Clara, this isn't what it looks like," he stammered. "Oh, I think it looks exactly like it does," she replied smoothly, stepping closer. "You've been giving your mother $5,000 a month, pretending it's enough, pretending you care, while ignoring everything else. And now, suddenly, the truth comes out." I felt my hands clench. Clara had always had a way of making me feel small, but now, with the secret I'd revealed, her smugness felt like a provocation. "Clara," I said firmly, keeping my voice steady, "this isn't about money. It's about love, respect, and understanding. Something you've never comprehended." Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, I comprehend perfectly. I just choose to use my resources wisely. Unlike some people, I know the value of money and influence." My son flinched at her words, and I felt a pang of anger. He had been blind to her manipulations for years, but today, everything was exposed. "You see," I continued, stepping closer, "the money you've been giving me, it's irrelevant. What matters is what I've sacrificed for my family, what I've protected, what I've hidden to shield you and others from truths you weren't ready to face." Clara's smile faltered, just slightly, and I knew I had struck a nerve. She was calculating, thinking ahead, trying to turn this moment in her favor, but I wouldn't let her. My son opened his mouth, attempting to defend her, but I shook my head. "No, son. This time, you listen. Clara doesn't get to control the narrative. I do." Suddenly, Clara's expression shifted, her tone dropping to a low hiss. "You think you can just reveal all this and ruin everything I've built here? Do you know what's at stake if anyone finds out the truth about your little family secrets?" Her words sent a shiver down my spine. She wasn't just angry, she was dangerous. She knew something I hadn't expected, something that could turn everything against us if we weren't careful. David, who had been silent until now, stepped forward, his jaw tight. "She doesn't get to intimidate us. We've been protecting this family for years, and we won't let you ruin it now." Clara laughed, a sound that was both sweet and chilling. "Protecting your family? By hiding things? By pretending everything is perfect while manipulating everyone behind the scenes? How noble." My son looked between us, torn, confused, and suddenly overwhelmed. I could see the internal battle raging in him, the realization of how blind he had been, and the fear of what Clara might do next. I leaned forward, my voice calm but firm. "You see, son, Clara isn't the only one with secrets. She thrives on control, on fear, on the illusion that money can buy love and loyalty. Today, you're learning that truth has a power she can never understand." For a moment, Clara seemed caught off guard, her confidence slipping. And then, Almost imperceptibly, her gaze hardened, and she stepped back. "You may think you've won this little moral victory," she said, voice cold. "But the game isn't over. And I promise you, this isn't the last you'll see of me." The words hung in the air like a warning, heavy and sharp. I could feel the tension coiling around my son, around David, around me. Every heartbeat seemed louder, faster, sharper. And then, in the silence that followed, the phone on the desk buzzed. A message from Clara already typed, ready to be sent. "If the truth comes out, everyone will regret it. Watch closely." My son's hands shook as he picked it up. And I realized in that moment that Clara's influence, her power, and her manipulations were far more dangerous than I had imagined. I took a deep breath, bracing myself. Today wasn't just about revealing secrets or confronting arrogance. Today was about protecting the truth, standing firm and proving that love, sacrifice, and integrity were worth more than money or control. But as Clara's eyes locked on mine, I knew one thing for certain. The next move she made would push us all to the edge, and it would change everything forever. The house felt colder than usual, as if Clara's presence had left a shadow that refused to lift. My son sat at the desk, his fingers drumming nervously against the papers I had revealed just hours before. He was quiet now, overwhelmed, caught between guilt, fear, and confusion. I could feel his turmoil, but I refused to let it cloud the focus of the day. Clara wasn't gone. She was out there, plotting, scheming, and I knew from the tone of her warning that her next move would hit hard and fast. "Mom," my son began, voice trembling. What do we do now?" I leaned forward, locking eyes with him. "We do what we should have done from the start. We protect the truth, face it head on, and show that love, respect, and integrity cannot be destroyed by threats or money." David stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. "She's dangerous," he warned softly. "Clara won't stop until she gets what she wants." "I know," I said, my voice calm but resolute. "And that's why we have to be smarter than her. We have to be stronger than fear." Just then, the phone buzzed again. Another message from Clara. "You think you can keep this secret safe? I know everything. And soon, everyone else will know too." My son's face paled. She's going to tell everyone, isn't she?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady both myself and him. "Maybe she will," I said. "But we're not powerless. We've already revealed the truth to ourselves. That's the first step. Now we prepare for what comes next." He nodded, still shaken, and I knew he was beginning to grasp the depth of what had been hidden from him all his life. All the sacrifices, all the quiet endurance, it wasn't for money. It was for my family. For love. For him. Hours passed, and Clara remained a looming threat. Her presence felt even in absence. Then, late in the afternoon, she arrived again, this time with a determination that chilled me. "Mom," she said, stepping inside without knocking, "you really think you can win this? You think exposing your little truths will change anything? People don't care about sacrifices, they care about results. And I give results." Her words were like ice in my veins. But I forced a calm, measured smile. "Clara," I said softly, "results without integrity are worthless. You may control money, influence, even appearances. But you cannot control love, loyalty, or the truth. And that's something you'll never understand." She laughed. A harsh, biting sound. Bold words for someone on the verge of losing everything. "Do you have any idea what I'm capable of?" I met her gaze steadily. "I do. And I also know what you're afraid of." Her eyes flickered, just for a moment. That small crack in her confidence was all I needed. I had spent years studying people, understanding motives, and protecting what mattered most. Now I was ready to act. "Son," I said quietly, "it's your turn. You've ignored the truth for too long. Today you must decide what matters, love and respect, or wealth and fear." He looked at me, fear and uncertainty battling within him. But finally, slowly, he nodded. I understand, Mom. I've been blind, but I see it now. Clara's expression darkened as she realized the shift in his allegiance. You think you can just flip loyalties? She hissed. Yes, I said firmly. Because truth and integrity aren't things you can bargain with, threaten, or buy. They exist beyond your reach, Clara. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and she stormed toward the door. This isn't over, she said sharply, turning to leave. Mark my words, this fight is far from finished. I exhaled, trying to calm the storm that had been building inside me all day. The room felt lighter somehow, even though the danger hadn't disappeared. My son looked at me with a mixture of awe and guilt, beginning to understand the depth of my love and the sacrifices I had made in silence. But even as Clara's figure disappeared down the driveway, a lingering unease remained. The battle wasn't over, not completely. The next move could come at any moment, and it could strike from an unexpected direction. I glanced at the folder once more, the hidden truths that had sparked this confrontation still lying there. I had revealed them at the right moment, to the right people, but what I hadn't accounted for was how far Clara would go to manipulate, intimidate, or sabotage us before giving up. And as I watched my son take his first tentative steps toward understanding and accountability, I realized that the final confrontation, the one that would decide the fate of our family, our love and our dignity, was still ahead. The morning sun streamed through the windows, painting the study in golden light. But inside, the tension from yesterday hadn't lifted, it only simmered beneath the surface. Clara's threats still echoed in my mind, her words like ice in my veins. I knew today could change everything. For better or worse. My son sat quietly, flipping through the folder again, absorbing the weight of every letter, every document, every photograph that revealed the truth I had hidden for so long. I watched him carefully, seeing the transformation begin, fear giving way to understanding, arrogance giving way to remorse. Mom, he said finally, voice trembling. I don't know how to thank you. I was blind. I didn't see what you sacrificed. What you endured, all for me. I reached out, placing a hand on his. Son, you don't need to thank me. Understanding is enough. Love isn't about payment, it's about respect, loyalty, and being present. Today, you start seeing that. Before he could respond, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway snapped both of us to attention. Clara. She had returned, more determined than ever. My heart raced, but I squared my shoulders. This was it, the final confrontation. She entered the house with her usual air of entitlement, eyes narrowing as they settled on the folder on the desk. So, she said, voice cold and deliberate, you've been hiding this all along. Secrets and lies, how quaint. Do you really think you can stop me? I met her gaze calmly, feeling the strength I had built over years of sacrifice. Clara, I said, voice steady, what I've revealed today isn't just paper and letters. It's proof of love, integrity, and loyalty, things you'll never understand. You can threaten, manipulate, or intimidate, but you cannot destroy the truth. Her expression flickered with frustration, the mask of control slipping just slightly. Truth? She repeated sharply. You think this will protect you? People won't care about sacrifices, they'll care about what I tell them. David, standing behind me, stepped forward. We've anticipated that, he said firmly. We've documented everything carefully. If you try to twist this, the truth is backed up, irrefutable. No one can manipulate what's already been proven. My son, finally finding his courage, spoke up. Clara, I was foolish. I thought money could measure love. But I see now I was wrong. Your attempts to control me, to define my relationship with my mother, end here. Her eyes widened, shock registering for the first time. She had underestimated the bond between mother and son, the strength of the truth and the courage that sacrifice can instill. Do you think this changes anything? She hissed, stepping closer, but I didn't flinch. I was ready. Yes, I said calmly, standing tall. It changes everything. Today, you see that love isn't bought. Loyalty isn't bought. And respect is earned, and you've earned none. For a moment the room was silent. The air felt charged, electric with tension. Then Clara's composure broke. She stormed toward the door, her departure abrupt and furious. "This isn't over," she spat. But her words lacked power now. They were just the hollow echo of someone defeated. The door clicked shut, leaving a quiet calm in the house, the kind that comes after a storm passes. My son exhaled, finally allowing himself to feel relief, gratitude, and clarity all at once. He turned to me, tears brimming in his eyes. "Mom, I promise. I'll never doubt you again. I understand now. Everything you did, every sacrifice you did it for me, for all of us. I see it and I'll make it right." I embraced him, feeling a weight lift from both our hearts. "That's all I ever wanted," I whispered. "To be seen. To be understood. To be loved for who I am, not what I can provide." David smiled quietly from the corner, a silent witness to the family's victory. The battle was over, not with anger or wealth, but with truth, integrity, and love. Later, as we sat together, I reflected on everything that had happened. The money, the threats, the arrogance, they had all tried to test us. But the power of sacrifice, the depth of love, and the courage to reveal truth had triumphed. Mother's Day would always be remembered, not for gifts, not for wealth, not for material tokens, but for the revelation that love cannot be measured in dollars. It can only be felt, nurtured, and honored. And as my son held my hand tightly, I realized something profound. Sometimes, the most valuable inheritance isn't money or property, it's the understanding of love, sacrifice, and the lessons that come from facing the truth. We had survived the storm. We had emerged stronger, united, and ready to face any challenge together. If this story touched your heart, like and subscribe for more emotional true stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story that moves you. And share your own experience in the comments. Your words could inspire or heal someone. Remember, love and sacrifice cannot be bought. So spread the message by sharing this video with others.